Hey friends, welcome back to the Monday Minute. My name is Rita Ernst. I am the author of Show Up Positive, contributing author to Culture Impact Strategies to Create World-Changing Workplaces. And today we are doing part 2 of Transparency from my Culture Hero Show Up Positive Sparks on how you really repair and reconstitute that soul-filling culture that allows everybody to bring out their best. We've been working on this all year. We are down to the final 3 words, just 3 words remaining. So transparency. First week is always mindset. That was last week. If you need to go back and listen, that was called Do You Show All Your Bits? And this week we are talking about transparency in teams. And look, there is just no other way to say it. But it is essential, it is vital that teams experience a trustworthiness with one another in order to be able to function optimally. And part of building trust and trustworthiness is our willingness to be transparent, to let others see in and know what is really going on. When people think you are holding back, they have a reason to doubt you. They have a reason to not trust. And so transparency is vital to good, strong team cultures and norms, because it is a foundational element of how we not only build trust, but perpetuate trust. Now, this is one of my favorite sections that I wrote, this little piece on transparency. I'm going to show my age, and some of you may not know this, and if you don't, you need to look it up. But how many of you, and if you're watching, jump in the comments, or if you're rewatching, hashtag replay, how many of you remember the comedy show that used to be on called Candid Camera? Do you remember Candid Camera? Smile, you're on Candid Camera. And the whole idea was that the host would show up and they would basically prank somebody. It would all be recorded. And then at the end, there would be this reveal, and they would be like, oh, that's not really going to happen. Smile, you're on Candid Camera. And that was the transparent moment that everything that they had been setting up, this potential train wreck, was not actually going to happen to this individual. And a lot of times in workplaces, I think people sort of feel like they have a lot of those smile, you're in Candid Camera moments, but not in a good way, and not always resolved in such a positive way. And this is something that you need to recognize and that you actually need to talk about, because when people are surprised all the time, when they feel like they didn't see this coming, that is maybe an indicator that there is a different kind of communication that needs to be happening. Because nobody wants to feel like they are the dupe. Nobody wants to be enslaved by a hidden agenda that they don't get to talk about or participate in. And most importantly, surprise. When we are surprised like that, we don't like surprises in the workplace. That's usually a bad thing for most people. So it's going to be sort of triggering if you are surprising people. So transparency is a way of talking about things. And here's the coolest thing to understand about transparency that I have found in over 25 years of working inside of businesses and teams. And I have put this to the test. I worked with a nonprofit organization going through a major shift many years ago when the whole funding dynamics changed in nonprofit organizations. And instead of the leadership team coming in and telling everybody the why, they trusted me, and we convened a conversation where we said, what is the state of our business right now, and what does it mean to us? And when we allowed people to sit and start talking and sharing about this, here's the deal. Everybody inside of that organization knew the score. They had heard enough. They knew, or they had some inkling, but it was less onerous when they were able to talk about it themselves versus having somebody confirm all their fears and kind of lay it on them. So there's something sort of cathartic and freeing about participating in the conversation, but you can only do that if you're willing to be transparent. and talk about all the details, or at least be willing to say, that's a detail I cannot talk about in this situation. That's being transparent. It doesn't mean that you have to show all your bits. It just means that you have to own and be honest about the ones that you can't show and why you can't show them. So I want you to get this clearly, that transparency isn't about showing everything, because it's not always appropriate in all situations for people to know everything, but it is being willing to say openly, that is not something we can talk about here, or it is not appropriate for me to share that, so that you are setting the container, the context for why you are not disclosing information, instead of allowing people to just run amok and make up stories about it. So I can't say any better more than the things that I've already said in this book. So like so many times, I'm going to share this because many of you don't have this book yet, although you're welcome to it anytime. You can have your own free copy. So how do you infuse the commitment to no hidden agendas in your team's culture? Here are some tips. 1, adapt an adult-to-adult communication strategy. Nobody likes to feel like they are the child. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. We're grown people. We have matured. We face a lot of things. We're making adult decisions in other areas of our lives. So let's make certain that we are adulting to adulting inside of the workplace. Number 2, talk openly about goals, progress, setbacks, and the state of the business. When we don't disclose those things, when we make them undiscussable, all we do is stoke the fires of fear. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to stoke fear. We want to have everybody inside of the organization sharing a common understanding, so that we are in the boat rowing together in the same direction. When some of the people in the boat know there's a waterfall up ahead and that we need to avoid that or face maybe death, but half of the people in the boat don't know that, they're just going to keep rowing in the wrong direction, and they're going to be working against you. You don't want people working against you, right? So they've got to have the facts. Number 3, invite ownership by co-creating goals and processes. Even when you are headed to the potential death of the waterfall, set the goals and the process. Okay, this is a problem we've got to avoid. How are we going to come together to do that? What ideas do we have? How fast do we need to row? Which side of the boat do we need to be rowing on? Can we fight the current upstream? Can we get to shore? Like, you want to be figuring these things out together with the people in the boat with you. The next one, number 4, share information early and often. Hey, the closer you get to the waterfall, the stronger the current is, the harder the job is. If you know it way back here and you tell it way back here, you have a lot more time to course correct and find a way out, right? Early and often. Let's see, the next one is 5, pursue progress over perfection. This trips a lot of us up. We are so stuck in trying to figure out the perfect thing that will absolutely work that we allow ourselves to get too far downstream. We don't need to get that far downstream. It's not healthy or helpful. So we want progress. We got to figure out, we got to get to shore. We're going to try to go back upstream, whichever direction we're going to go. We got to figure that out now and start working in that direction. And then we can learn and perfect as we go. And finally, adopt autopsy practices that turn disappointments into learning moments. So the final thing about transparency is that when we avoid going over the waterfall, it may have not been like the easiest, funnest thing to get ourselves, but we're going to recognize and we're going to learn from that. How do we end up on this path toward the waterfall? Where do we need to learn, so the next time we are navigating waters, we don't end up in this space again? And to celebrate the fact that we set a goal, we made it, and as hard as it was to get there, we are better for the teamwork that came together to get us to the place that we're at right now. These are the things that are important inside of organizations when you're trying to build a strong team, where everybody has shared ownership and commitment. And that is what these sparks are all about. It is not about the top down anymore. It is about the groundswell coming together, collaborating and co-creating. This is what people want. They want shared ownership. They want to be a part of the committed team. So please invite them in, and transparency is one of the best ways to do it. Again, you don't have to show all the details. Some things are not appropriate for all audiences. Some conversations are not appropriate in certain situations. Some things are personal and should be held back. So do not take transparency as meaning that you have to show it all. You don't. You don't have to show all of it in its glory. However, you do owe people a response. Instead of ignoring, you own it. I am not going to share that. I don't feel that that is appropriate for me to do. That's being transparent. So it's not giving away all the information. Let's just make sure that we are clear about that. Thank you for joining me for the Monday Minute. I'm so happy that you were with me today. I hope that you find this helpful. Let's see, our next word, we start a new word next week, is trustworthy. So trustworthy is a really good, a lot of great conversation, I'm sure, about that. And just as a reminder to everyone, it is World Kindness Day on Wednesday. I have a series of tips going this week. Tune in to my social media channels to see those. But let's create a world of kindness this week. Together, we can really make a positive impact on the lives of our people around us and our own lives. Because when we give kindness to others, we feel the benefit of that kindness in ourselves as well. All right. Have a great week. I'll see you back here again next Monday. Bye.